The dead man's eyes were still open. He lay under the big tree with red flowers, silent, still, and cold. The police had never seen anything like it. His body was untouched. No knife, no gun, no blood. Except one thing. On his forehead, written in thick red ink, was a strange symbol. It looked like a small snake coiled around the sun. Nobody knew what it meant. Nobody, except Nene. Nene was only 24, but she was already the best at reading old African symbols. She studied Nsibidi, a secret writing used long ago by wise men, warriors, and spirit keepers in the forest of Cross River. Most people had forgotten Nsibidi. But not Nene. When the police called her, she didn't know someone had died. They just said, "We found something. We need your eyes." Nene arrived in the village just before sunset. The air smelled like wet leaves. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Even the birds were hiding. She followed the police chief, Mr. Boko, to the tree. When she saw the man's forehead, she froze. Her heart thudded loudly. She had seen this symbol before. Not in books. Not in the forest. But in her dream. Last week, she had woken up sweating. A voice had whispered in her sleep, "Don't read it. If you read it, it will begin." Now here it was, right in front of her, drawn in red, but not ink. She leaned closer. It was blood. Mr. Boko scratched his head. "Can you read it?" Nene wanted to say no. But her lips said, "Yes. I think it says, awaken the forgotten." Mr. Boko looked at her. "What does that mean?" Nene shook her head slowly. "I don't know. But this writing, it's very old. Even the elders don't speak it anymore. Only people in the ex-secret society used it. For magic, for oaths, for..." She stopped. "For what?" Mr. Boko asked. "For death rituals." That night, Nene couldn't sleep. She sat in her small guest room, holding her journal, flipping through old Nsibidi notes. The symbol kept swimming in her mind. Then, a knock on the window. She turned fast. No one was there. She walked slowly to the window, heart pounding. There was something on the glass. Written with a finger. The same symbol. Her breath caught in her throat. She wiped it off quickly, slammed the curtain shut, and sat back down, shaking. Suddenly, she remembered something her grandmother once said. Some words are alive. They carry spirits. When you speak them, they wake up. Nene had always thought it was just a story. But now she wasn't sure. The next morning, the villagers gathered near the market square. A second body had been found. This time it was a woman. A teacher. Same symbol. Same red mark. Same wide eyes. Everyone was afraid. People whispered, "Is it a curse? Is it the forest spirits? Who is doing this?" Mr. Boko pulled Nene aside. "We found something," he said. He held up a torn piece of cloth. Drawn on it was a full Nsibidi message, 3 long symbols, not just one. Nene read it aloud, her voice shaking. 3 shall fall. 3 shall speak. 1 shall open the gate. What gate? Mr. Boko asked. Nene whispered, I think it's a gate between our world and the spirit world." That evening, Nene sat near the old village shrine. Her eyes stared at the dusty carvings on the stone walls. She traced one with her finger and stopped. It was the same snake and sun symbol, carved long ago, hidden behind vines. It wasn't new. It had been waiting. She felt a cold wind brush past her. Then a voice behind her said, "You should not be here." Nene turned quickly. An old woman stood there, wrapped in red cloth. Her eyes were white, no pupils. Her voice was soft, but heavy like a drum. "You are opening what was sealed," the woman said. Nene swallowed. "What does it mean?" The woman pointed at her chest. "The one who reads becomes the one who speaks. Nsibidi is not just ink. It is life. And it is death." Then, like mist, the woman vanished. Nene ran back to her room, heart racing. Her phone buzzed. A message. No number. Only one word. "Tonight." Then it turned off on its own. No signal. No light. No sound. Only darkness. And from somewhere deep in the room, a slow scratching sound. Scratching. Like someone writing. But she was alone. Right. The scratching stopped. Nene sat frozen in the dark, her hands shaking. She held her breath and listened. Nothing. No wind. No sound. No light. She turned on her flashlight. The room was empty. No one was there. But on the wall behind her bed, the symbol was back. Drawn in red. This time, it was not alone. There were 3 symbols now. The full message. The one that said, 3 shall fall. 3 shall speak. 1 shall open the gate. And beneath them, written in small Nsibidi signs, something new. You are the 3rd. Nene's heart almost stopped. Was this about her? Had 2 already died? Was she next? The next morning, she went to the old part of the village. Elders said it was where the earth people once gathered. They wore secret masks, danced under the moon, and gathered sacred knowledge. Some said they could speak with the dead. Others said they could call storms. But no one dared go there now. Except Nene. She needed answers. The shrine was covered in dust and spider webs. Tall trees grew around it, making everything quiet and dark. Stone faces stared at her from the walls, faces carved long ago, now cracked and watching. She stepped inside. The air smelled of wood smoke and old rain. And then she saw them. The masks. Dozens of wooden masks hung on the wall, some smiling, some frowning, some with wide, hollow eyes. They were beautiful. And terrifying. One of the masks looked familiar. Too familiar. Nene stepped closer and gasped. It had her face. Same high cheekbones. Same birthmark near the eye. Same small scar on the lip from when she fell as a child. Her knees felt weak. She touched it gently. The mask was warm. Then it blinked. Nene jumped back, heart pounding. The mask blinked again, and then all the other masks began to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling. The walls rumbled. And then a voice filled the shrine. She has returned. The voice was old. Deep. Sad. Nene turned in circles, looking for who had spoken. Who are you? She whispered. A low hum echoed around her. Then, from the back of the shrine, a door creaked open. A warm orange light spilled out. She stepped inside. Candles floated in the air. The walls were covered with Nsibidi drawings, hundreds of them. Some paused softly, as if breathing. In the center of the room sat the blind old woman from before. The one with white eyes. You came, the woman said, not looking up. You knew I would? Nene asked. You've been here before. Nene shook her head. No. This is my first time. The woman smiled. Not in this life. The room felt colder. What do you mean? Nene asked. The old woman stood, slowly. You are the key. You are the reader. You are the voice the symbols have waited for. Nene's head was spinning. Why me? The woman walked closer. Her white eyes stared right through Nene. Long ago, you spoke a forbidden word. You opened a door that let darkness in. The elders sealed your voice in stone and wiped your name from memory. She paused. But the symbols never forgot. And now, they are waking. Suddenly, Nene heard a scream. Loud. Close. Then another one. From outside the shrine. She ran to the door and saw people gathered at the village square, shouting. Someone had collapsed in the middle of the road. Nene pushed through the crowd. It was Mr. Boko. His eyes were wide open. His mouth frozen in shock. And on his forehead, the symbol. No, Nene whispered. Not him. Not again. People began to cry. Some pointed at Nene. She was there before. She reads the symbols. She brought this. Nene backed away, terrified. Was it her fault? Was she really cursed? She ran through the forest, back toward the shrine. But this time, the trees felt different. Alive. Watching. When she reached the shrine, it was gone. No door. No masks. No voice. Only silence. Only darkness. And at her feet, a single piece of paper. On it, written in CBD, were 4 new words. You have spoken again. Nene didn't remember falling asleep. But when she opened her eyes, she was no longer in the forest. She was lying in her room. Morning sunlight streamed through the window. Her mouth was dry. Her clothes were muddy. And her heart still raced like it had run miles. Had it all been a dream? The shrine. The masks. The woman with white eyes. She sat up slowly. Then she saw her arm. Her sleeve was rolled up. And on her skin, the symbol. But this time, it was different. It wasn't drawn. It was burned into her skin. Like a brand. Nene gasped and pulled her arm away, but the mark didn't hurt. It felt warm. Alive. Almost like it was listening. She grabbed her journal and flipped to the last page where she had written the symbol days ago. Now that page was blank. The ink was gone. She tried to write it again. Her pen wouldn't move. She picked another pen. Still nothing. It was as if the paper refused to hold the symbol again. Later that day, Nene walked to the old village well. She had always gone there as a child. It was quiet. Peaceful. She needed space to think. As she leaned over the edge, she stared down at her reflection. But what she saw wasn't her. The face looking back had her eyes, but not her skin. It was darker, covered in white tribal paint. Her hair was longer. And on her neck were many CBD symbols, glowing like fireflies. She stumbled back, heart pounding. The water rippled. Then she heard it. Whispers. Soft. Gentle. Calling her name. Nene. Nene. You remember? She turned quickly. No one was there. Only the trees swaying. Only the wind. Only the voice deep inside her saying, "It's not the first time you've worn that mark." That evening, she visited an elder named Papa Udo. He was nearly 90 and barely spoke. But people said he remembered things others had long forgotten. He lived in a small hut near the river, surrounded by carved stones and wooden figures. When Nene showed him her arm, he said nothing for a long time. He just stared. Then he spoke. I saw that mark once. Many years ago. On a girl who disappeared into the shrine and never came back. Nene felt a chill. Who was she? Papa Udo looked at her carefully. She looked just like you. Nene swallowed hard. What happened to her? She read the wrong symbol. Spoke the wrong word. The spirits punished her by erasing her name. He pointed at her arm. "You've been marked again. It means the past is coming back. But this time, the gate may not stay closed." That night, Nene locked her door and sat on her bed, holding her grandmother's old necklace. It was a small bronze charm with ancient CBD on the back, something she had always worn without knowing its meaning. She turned it over now and stared at the symbol. Her eyes widened. It matched the one on her arm. The exact same shape. She touched it with trembling fingers. Suddenly, her body froze. A flash. She saw herself, standing in a circle of fire. Wearing the same necklace. Holding a staff. Speaking words in a voice not her own. Dozens of masked people knelt before her. They chanted her name. Odem. 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 Then, darkness. Nene gasped and dropped the charm. Was that a memory? Was she really the same girl from long ago? Was this her second life? Was the symbol not a curse, but a key? The floor creaked. She looked up. Her mirror began to fog. Words appeared, slowly, written in steam. 3 have fallen. The gate is opening. Then the glass cracked. Nene backed away as lights flickered and wind rushed through the closed windows. Then, a voice, calm and deep, echoed through the room. The last word must be spoken, or all will be silenced. Her journal flipped open by itself. The pen lifted and began to write. In her handwriting. One final symbol. One final message. Speak it or become it. The pen dropped. Nene stared at the page in her journal. A new CBD symbol was there. But she hadn't written it. Her hand was still shaking. Her mind was still racing. The symbol on the page was shaped like a doorway, surrounded by flames and tears. She didn't need to translate it. She already knew what it meant. It's time. She stood up, holding the journal close. Everything felt heavier now. The air. Her steps. Her heart. She didn't know what speaking the symbol would do. But the voices were getting louder. The dreams were becoming real. And now, something was calling her back to the shrine. The next morning, the sky turned dark before noon. Storm clouds rolled in, but no thunder came. No rain. Just a heavy silence that blanketed the whole village. People locked their doors. Some whispered her name. Some crossed themselves as she passed. Even children hid when they saw her. She was no longer the reader. Now they called her something else. The opener. She returned to the forest, past the old trees and broken fences, back to where the shrine had vanished. She stood still, listening. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out her grandmother's bronze necklace. She placed it on the ground. The wind stopped. The trees froze. And the earth trembled. Suddenly, a stone doorway rose from the ground in front of her, covered in moss, and carved from top to bottom with glowing CBD. The shrine had returned. Inside, the masks waited. But this time, they were not silent. They whispered in 100 tiny voices. Speak the last word. Finish what you began. Or the curse will never end. In the center of the room, a stone circle began to glow. Nene stepped inside. The symbol on her arm grew hot, burning like fire beneath her skin. She opened her journal. The page lit up. And the symbol on it began to float, rising slowly, glowing in midair, spinning. Then everything around her disappeared. She was no longer in the shrine. She stood on a great plain of white sand. No sky. No sun. Only silence. Before her stood a tall, shadowy figure. Its face was covered by an old ape mask. Its body shimmered like smoke. And it spoke without moving its lips. You were the last speaker. You sealed the gate. Now you must choose, open it again, or take its place. Nene swallowed hard. Why me? The voice answered, softer now. Because you remembered. Because you listened. Because you read what no one else dared read. Nene looked down. In her hands was a knife. On the ground before her was a stone covered in blood. Ancient. Familiar. This had happened before. She remembered now. She had stood here in another life. She had spoken the words. She had sealed the gate with blood. Her own. Tears ran down her cheeks. I don't want this. But it wants you, said the voice. You can finish the curse, or it will keep writing itself. In more blood. In more lives. In more forgotten names. The wind howled. The white sand rose like a storm. Nene gripped the knife, her arm burning, the symbol shining like fire. And then she screamed. Not in fear, but in power. He shattered the last symbol. The ground cracked open. The figure vanished in light. And the sky above her shattered like glass. When she opened her eyes again, she was back in the shrine. Everything was quiet. No masks. No glow. No whispers. Only the soft sound of birds outside. And her arm. The symbol was gone. She stepped outside. The sky was clear. The storm was over. People peeked from their windows. Children ran again. Birds sang. She walked past them silently. They watched her in awe. Not with fear, but with wonder. The curse was over. For now. But deep in her journal, on the last page, a new symbol was beginning to form. This time, it shaped itself. Not from her hand. Not from ink. But from something deeper. Something ancient. Something waiting.